Alright, so as most of you have seen the unboxing from worx, the M4A1 upper that I had gotten, this is the completion of the build, and I wanted to go over it and discuss some things with you and some alterations that I had to make to the kit that I got from worx, and give you some final thoughts and if I think it was worth the money that I spent on everything. So I wasn't expecting that video to kind of take off like it did. Looks like a lot of you guys were interested in it, and I was glad to see that. So the comments were, most of them were positive, some of them were pretty hating on worx. So I kind of wanted to discuss that as well. But first, let's go into this build here. We'll go from the back to the front, and I'll discuss where I got everything and all that good stuff. So the lower parts kit in here and the buffer tube is actually a surplus Colt lower parts kit. Obviously it came without the full auto bits. I got it on Unbroker. I believe it's an LE trade-in, like it came from like an LE trade-in rifle or something. I'm not exactly sure where it came from. Doesn't have a ton of wear on the lower parts kit, but it's cool because the hammer and the bolt catch have C's on them. So, and this is a 4-position tube. It did come with a stock, but it came with the commercial stock that had the little circle right here. And the stocks that the military use actually don't have that circle C in there, and that is actually something that really bugs the crap out of me on clones. So I put this one on. I've had this stock for years. I'm sure I got it on Facebook or something. And so that's where the stock came from, and like I said, the lower parts kit. So this grip here came from Apex Gun Parts. This I got separate. This is a Colt A2 grip, but this is a Colt fat grip. So if you don't know, not all A2 grips are the same. Some of them are a little fatter, and the surplus grips I always find actually a lot nicer than like a new A2 grip, because they're pretty shined up. They feel way better than like a brand new out of the box like an Anderson or some BS A2 grip. So the lower itself came from FN. I ordered that. I forget who I ordered it from. Oh, I got this from Rooftop Defense, that's right. And this is their Collector Series FN lower, and it's marked M4 carbine, and it is marked safe semi-auto. Obviously it's a semi-auto rifle. There is no third pin there. So just to be clear on that. So the lower itself is not super clone correct, but it's pretty close. And this rifle is all U.S. government parts, surplused or government contract parts. So that's why I went with FN. I could have bought, like Thoroughbred has their roll marked M4A1 carbine lower, that's U.S. property marked. I know Palmetto State Armory also makes a U.S. property marked lower. And I know International Milco also makes one. But again, I wanted either a Colt logo or an FN logo up here. So yeah, you can get something that has the correct roll marks, but then the logo up top is going to not be right. So it's kind of hard you got to find that perfect balance of what's clone correct and what's not. And being a government contractor, I went with the FN, and I'm really happy I did. I love seeing this logo here. I just think it looks really cool. So I guess I'll talk about this now. This M4A1 build that I did is I'm not going for like a Colt M4A1. I'm not going for like an FN M4A1 or anything like that. What this is to me is a rifle that has been in service for a long time. Probably started out as a Colt and has been rebuilt, and maybe took some shrapnel, took an RPG shrapnel to the lower, and the lower needed to be replaced, and Now we are using FN, so we have an FN lower. So that's where the FN lower comes in, even though it's mostly Colt parts. But that's where I'm kind of looking at this as. Like, I put a lot of thought into these. I always put a lot of thought into my clones. This is also like a circa 2012 clone, and I'll kind of get into that a little bit later on. But anyways, back to this lower. So I did have an issue with this lower. My problem was this down here. As you can see, the pin here is too close on the side there on the dog ear. And not only is that pin too close, this here is out of spec to try to put the trigger guard in. I actually had to tap the trigger guard in with a mallet, and I tried 2 trigger guards, so it wasn't this one. This is a Colt trigger guard, but I also tried a new production trigger guard that I got, and they both were just out of spec, or the lower itself is just out of spec. And if this wasn't already a registered NFA item before I had bought, or before I tried to put it together and I had it engraved, if I wouldn't have did all that, I would have sent the lower back. So note to self and anyone else that's going to do a registered SBR, make sure that you put the lower together and test the lower before you register it, because stuff like this would happen, and I don't even know what would have happened if it would have broke or something. You can see it really looks bad there and on that side. I mean, the hole itself is out of spec. I had to put grease on. I usually lube all my pins up, but I actually had to grease this pin and beat the ever-loving crap out of it to get it in there. I thought I was going to break the dog ears, but thankfully it didn't. But yeah, you can see it's just complete crap. So the lower should have went back to FN, but it is what it is. Thankfully it all worked out and it didn't break. But just something to note, just keep in mind. And once again, I just have really bad luck, just showing you that no matter who the manufacturer is, they can make good stuff and they can also put some bad stuff out. It doesn't matter who it is. So and then the upper, you guys saw was it was incomplete. It was all in parts whenever I had gotten it from worx. So this upper here, the barrel, the rail system, charging handle, and the bolt carrier group all came from a company called worx. And the upper is a surplus. You can see it is marked with a C. And the charging handle is a surplus Colt charging handle as well. And the bolt carrier group is it's brand new. The bolt and bolt carrier group are brand new. The carrier itself is a Toolcraft, a USGI Toolcraft bolt carrier group, and that was actually new in the wrapper, and the wrapper was dated from 2009. And so you can see the Colt logo, see the Colt C right there, pretty cool. Was dated from 2009. And you can see here, it's got the cage code on the side, which is pretty cool. And it's dark, but you still see some of the white paint on the Colt bolt. And wipe it away. Kind of make out the MPC there. Kind of see it, but so the bolt was also dated 2024, and you can go back and look at the unboxing of that if you want. Sorry about that. Zazostava just called me. Interesting. Okay, that's for a different video. Anyways, now that I totally lost my train of thought. But yeah, so the the bolt carrier group is Toolcraft and Colt, and they are military contract parts, which was pretty cool. You can see the packages and all that in the unboxing video of the upper if you're interested. That all came from worx as well. I got this Maytech rear sight. This actually came from worx as well. It's actually in really good shape, and yeah, you can get those on eBay as well, but I saw them on worx, so I just decided to order one from him. And the surplus, this is a surplus comp M4 Aimpoint, and that came from eBay. I actually just posted a video on that one as well. And I actually really like that optic. So I originally wanted a ACOG, but I can't find a surplus ACOG to save my life. I don't know why. I can't find any on eBay, and I can't find any on Gunbroker. So I settled for this, and I'm actually really glad I did. I actually really like this. The only problem is I have astigmatism, so the dot's not perfectly centered for me, so it does make shooting this gun accurately kind of hard, whereas like my ACOGs I can do pretty good with. So not to mention it's unmagnified, but the rail system is a Knight's Armament, obviously, and I ordered that I think the same time or like a day or two before I ordered the upper, because I originally was going to put this rail system on something else, and then I saw this whole kit here and I was like, well, this will be pretty badass, so I did that. And the Delta ring also came in the kit, and you can see it looks pretty cooked there. So you can see it's kind of plum colored there. Not exactly sure why. I think it just happens sometimes with military contracts. So one of the alterations I had to make was the Delta ring here. I actually had to buy a new snap ring for the back here, because when I pulled the snap ring off, it was just too bent. It wouldn't go back on. I don't know if I did that or if it was just bent like that, because the surplus or the Delta ring actually came with a barrel nut on it already. It had a barrel nut and everything, but this barrel already had a barrel nut installed, so I didn't need the barrel nut that was on this Delta ring here. Again, if you haven't watched the unboxing video, go ahead and watch that and you'll understand what I'm talking about. So I had to replace the snap ring in there, which wasn't a big deal. It's like a $6 part, I think. Actually, it might have been $1, I forget. But I mean, I had to pay shipping, so it was like $6. But it wasn't a big deal either way. And then I got this Surefire M951 off eBay, and you can see here, which is pretty cool. So it says 2-508 HHC, and then TAC 049. So I looked up HHC 2-508, and that comes up as the 508 Parachute Infantry, and HHC is headquarters company. So like I had to call my buddy Bill. He was in the 82nd, and he explained to me what all HHC stands for. It's like the cooks, the officers, that kind of stuff. It's not like your line infantry. So, but I do believe this light belonged to somebody in the 82nd, which is pretty cool. Some kind of staff officer or something that's never used, obviously, you can see. But still pretty cool. I mean, I guess it is possible somebody just etched those on there. But I ordered this from a listing that had a bunch of them, and they had a generic one just listed, and this is just one that they happened to sell me. It just happened to show up like that. So if somebody did just type that in there or just write that on there to try to get more money out of it, I don't know why they wouldn't have sold it individually, because yeah, I think it would have went for a little more money if he would have listed it separately. So the Knight's grip came from, oh man, I forget where I got this, but this is an actual surplus unit. This isn't a new one. This is a surplus Knight's. Now the barrel, the barrel came with the kit as well, and it is a Capco barrel, and you can see it is Capco's cage code. It is MP556 NATO 1 and 7. It is chrome lined. Now, Capco had a huge military contract in 2003 to 2004, I believe it was, for the SOCOM barrels. And if I can find the or if I can find the picture, the screenshot I took, I'll roll it in, and you can see the military contract for these SOCOM barrels. So this was a contract overrun, so it was just one that they made that they didn't need for the contract. So they ended up selling it on the civilian market, which I think is pretty cool. So this barrel was supposed to go to the U.S. government, and it's non-F marked, which I find interesting, that a government contract barrel that's not a Colt barrel is also not F marked. So the side sling swivel here, that's another thing that was kind of an interesting part for me to try to track down. So you used to be able to get the side sling swivels pretty easily, the Colt ones anyways. Well, that's no longer the case. There's a company out there, the name is, I can't think of the name, but I'll roll it in, I'll put it in on the screen so you can see. There's a company out there that makes these, that's not Colt, and it looks the same, but they're not, they're different. You can definitely tell that the one that company makes is not a Colt, especially whenever you hold up a Colt and you can tell. So this is an actual Colt one I had to source from a company called Specialized Armament, and it was about $100. So these are getting hard to find for whatever reason. I couldn't even find any on Charlie's Custom Clones, which I hate buying from them because they're kind of expensive. But yeah, they didn't even have any. So the Specialized Armament was literally the only place on the internet that I could find an actual Colt side sling swivel. So this is the last alteration I made to the kit. So when I ordered the upper, it was supposed to come with a surplus Colt A2 flash hider. Well, the A2 flash hider it came with looked brand new to me. So I didn't know if it was a Colt. I didn't know if it was just a random one they just threw in there. But I wasn't happy with it. So I actually got a bag of 5 of these on Gunbroker for I think 20 bucks. So I have a whole bunch of these. I'll never use them, but I just wanted one, so I had to buy them all, unfortunately. So, but they were cool. I'm really glad I did because this really sets it off, I think. Now, this is, as I alluded to before, this is a NFA registered SBR. So this is not pinned and welded. This is a 14.5-inch rifle. Would I buy this kit again? Absolutely. So there were some people complaining that the uppers and stuff were absolutely shot out and they were scrap metal and blah, blah, blah. Well, they had kind of a point to that. So the original upper that was sent to me was really bad and it actually wouldn't even take a bolt carrier group. So I sent that one back. They sent me another one and the other one actually had a crack in the front here. I'll roll in a picture of what that looked like. So to worx's credit, I sent them an email and I'm like, yo, the second one you sent me is cracked. So to their credit, that morning, because I sent it to them at like 8 or 9 at night. So at like 8 in the morning, the next morning, he sent me a shipping label with a new upper receiver and just the stripped upper here with a new upper. And he told me that in the box was going to be a return label to send the other upper back to him. He told me that I guess he went through all of them and for whatever reason, the new fresh uppers that they had just received somehow did not go through quality control. But like my buddy Bill was saying, like, how do you not see this stuff when you're putting it in the box? You know, I don't know. But they did make it right. It did take a couple times, but I mean, that happens. I would buy this kit again. This kit is sold out. So there was a couple people that were hating on this, but I think the vast majority of you guys like this because those were in stock for a while. I posted my video and I think like a day later, he's completely sold out. So I'm pretty sure some of you guys had bought this kit after that video, which is kind of cool. So now these kits have been in stock, in and out of stock over the last couple years. So he may post more of these kits. Just keep an eye on his channel, just keep an eye on worx's website. Obviously, I can't leave any links. I absolutely nerd out over this stuff. I really love clones, and I know some people are like, clones don't need to be that authentic, but it is cool that I can make them that authentic. And this gun is absolutely not shot out. The bolt carrier group and barrel, brand new, and it's basically a brand new rifle. So there's zero issues with it at all. So, so this whole build I have about $1,500 in, not including the $200 tax stamp. So in case you were wondering, that does include the Aimpoint, and that does include the Surefire M951. And I did replace the light bulb with a LED conversion that I got on Amazon. I will leave a link for the LED conversion in the description. So if you have one of these, you can get the LED upgraded bulb. It's Amazon Prime. I think it was like 15 bucks or something. And I have about 200 rounds on this, and it seems to be holding up. I mean, it is a Chinese light, but it does seem to be holding up. So this isn't like a defensive gun for me or anything. So if the light bulb does break, then it's not an immediate emergency or anything. So as far as groups go, because I have been asked about groups on the Capco barrel, I'm getting about 2.5-inch groups with this red dot. I'm sure if I put a magnifying optic on it and a better trigger in it, I'm sure I could get it down to 1.5 inches. Anyways, it's a great running gun. I mean, it cycles so smooth. This feels just like the Colt, and it shoots like the Colt too. So very happy with it. Very, very pleased. I understand if this is too clone-ish for you, that's fine. But for me, I love it. So anyways, thanks for watching. Have a good day.